welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm Linda McNamee, and for the next hour-ish, we will, as you saw from the introduction, find out all about the value of service. More like community service and, making our world a better place, I guess is a good way to phrase it. So before you meet my wonderful guest, I would like to take care of a few housekeeping rules, as I always do. If you would like to email me with a suggestion for a future topic, you can send me a note at talk@bcattv.org. I would like to thank the crew for this evening. Chris Flaherty, one of the staff members here, makes sure all of us volunteers know exactly what we're doing, or at least keep us calm and civil and functional. We do have a couple of volunteers, Jesse O'Regan and Gwyneth McNamee, who have given up their Wednesday evening to come hang out at BCAT. Thank you very much. And last but definitely not least, I want to thank my husband Paul for staying home for Daddy Date Night, even though he's not staying home because he's on a quest for urgent care. But enough about that. My wonderful guest might recognize the uniform a little bit. Dylan Lynch, who is an Eagle Scout. My last guest was ready to become an Eagle Scout.
Yeah.
So you are an Eagle Scout, and you have, is it the President's Award Honoree recipient?
It's the Presidential Volunteer Award.
Oh, okay. So we're going to talk about both of those. Thank you very much for joining me. So, obviously you're still in high school because you haven't changed it to a little knot yet. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What are your interests? Is it, well, other than scouting, what do you like to do? What do you want to do? What are your plans after college, after high school, if it is college?
Well, so obviously scouting takes up a large portion of my time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a serving officer of the Honor Society in it. But outside of school and Scouts, I'm a member of Burlington's Model UN Club. We get to debate both modern and past issues for fun. It's a wonderful group of people that I really enjoy working with. I really enjoy reading about history. And after high school, I'm hoping to go to college and get a degree in constitutional law and eventually get my law degree.
Oh, cool. All right, so debating and Model UN. What was your favorite topic to discuss so far?
So far, it would probably be the Constitutional Convention that I got to serve on as the esteemed delegate from New Hampshire, John Langdon.
Okay.
I became the nation's first vice president through that, after manipulating George Washington into backing out of the race and backing James Madison for President of the United States of America.
All righty then. I'm not really sure how to follow that. Okay, so we will talk about your Presidential Service Award?
Presidential Volunteer Award.
Volunteer Award.
It took me like a month and a half to figure out what it was called.
Yeah, does it say on it?
Yeah, that's what I've been reading.
It does say Volunteer Service Award, so we're both right.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, what do you know?
I'm still wrong.
Just not, yeah, anyway, got plenty of practice. So, with the uniform, now that you're an Eagle Scout, what made you join Scouting, and when did you join Scouting?
So it's actually a more unique story. So I joined Scouting in 2014, 10 years ago. In my first grade, I was I was a tiger, which is the first grade.
Well, because they didn't have lions.
They did not have lions at the time. My brother was actually one of the first lions in Burlington.
Okay.
But so.
What made you want to start?
So that story is probably the most unique. I didn't want to go to my first meeting.
Imagine
It was not something I wanted to do. I wanted to be at home. But my mom and dad got me in the uniform, brought me to the meeting, and by the end of it, I loved scouting. I loved it. Only after the meeting did they tell me that my older brother, once did that, and that got me even more interested in it. And then it just became the thing I did. It's how I made friends. It's where I learned essential skills, and it's just who I became to an extent.
I love it. You're gonna have fun whether you like it or not. Oh, okay. So you started in first grade, then fifth grade-ish is when you join Boy Scouts or Scouts BSA or soon to be Scouting America.
At the time, it was the tail end of 5th grade. Now we accept kids in March.
Oh, okay. Now, is there like an age thing for joining, for transitioning from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts?
It's less of an age thing as far as I know and more of a grade thing. It's
Okay.
literally the crossover from 5th into 6th grade.
Hence the name crossover, so when they're crossing over. Okay. And once you joined Boy Scouts, you got your eagle like really quickly. You 9th grade, 10th grade.
I was in 10th grade when I
Okay.
got my Eagle.
Okay.
I started working on it almost 2 years prior to that,
Okay.
but unfortunately a few of my projects had been denied because of
Issues.
the issues that, to varying degrees, and eventually the project I did come up with
Yeah.
came from me and my mom happened to be driving over to Francis Wyman, the elementary school.
Okay.
And we saw a bunch of picnic tables all set up out front of the school, and the middle school didn't have any.
Oh.
So
So wait, what year was this? Was this like post-COVID?
this would be post-COVID,
Okay.
the tail end of my sophomore year.
Okay. Because I'm thinking like during COVID there was a lot of outdoor learning and
That is where the first picnic tables in Burlington came from,
okay.
but the middle school never got those.
wow. Okay. So what's involved? What criteria must you meet in order to get your project accepted? Because you mentioned that you started down different roads and ended up coming back to the table project.
So there are a number of different things that you can go into, but
Okay.
in the very basic description of it, it needs to serve the community. It
Okay.
cannot just serve a scouting group, a scouting organization. It needs to serve a community,
Okay.
whether that's a church, a school, a park, or any other community you could be a part of.
Okay.
And it can even support scouts to a degree, but you need to support the community as the primary goal.
Okay. So like you couldn't do anything for your troop, but you could do something for like maybe like a local camp?
If the camp isn't Boy Scout run, yes. So there's a camp in Andover called Camp 40 Acres.
Oh,
It
yes.
is not BSA associated
Right.
or in any way run by Scouts.
Okay.
Yet there have been over a dozen Eagle projects there, as far as I can tell from past stories I've heard or just general projects that have gone in there through Scouts that have counted because of that it's a service to a whole community, even though Scouts do use the area.
Got it. But the Eagle project itself is only part of the whole process to get yourself to the Eagle rank. Can you tell us more about that journey from 5th grade to building, building picnic tables, coming up with project management, and getting recognized as an Eagle Scout?
Absolutely. So when you join Scouts, the first rank you achieve is the Scout rank.
Okay.
Not a very clever name, but it's just the fully generalized basics of what Scouting is.
So it's not automatic.
I got that rank within 3 weeks of joining
Okay.
Scouting BSA.
Cool.
And by the end of that year, in fact, the year COVID started,
Ugh, yeah.
yeah,
Longest 2 weeks of my life.
I had gotten to first class,
Oh, wow.
which was Scout rank, tenderfoot, second class, and first class. I got 4 ranks in about 6 months.
Wow. So with those first ranks, there's not like a time limit where you have to be at a certain rank for a certain period of time, but you do for the other.
Yes.
Okay, so keep going.
Within those ranks specifically, the only thing that's really there is there's a month wait between the physical based stuff. So like I had to do a month of physical fitness here and then I could start the same thing for the
Okay.
next rank. That was the only time limit on them.
Okay.
And then when you get to the higher ranks, Star, Life, and Eagle Scout themselves, there is a waiting period that you have to be an active scout and hold a position of responsibility.
Okay.
It goes 4 months, 6 months, 6 months for the waiting periods.
Thank you. What are some of the positions of responsibility that you've held?
I held patrol leader as my first position, which means
Okay.
I headed the first group of younger scouts. The first day that my patrol joined the troop, we had our first election, and I was elected as patrol leader.
Okay.
The term after that, I served as assistant patrol leader to one of my fellow Scouts, and I served as librarian as the troop as a whole.
Okay. What does the librarian do?
The librarian keeps the merit badge books for the whole troop.
Oh. So you need a lot of room.
It's only about 3 boxes, fit perfectly in my closet.
Well, how? Cool. I've got to have you come over and clean my closet because I can't fit anything in my closet.
I can't fit anything in mine anymore
'Cause you got
either.
the books.
I just got my new room at that point. Didn't have anything to put in there.
Oh, darn. As the librarian, with all of the books, I know that, some of the requirements are constantly changing. Is that something you as librarian need to track, or are the leaders like, okay, that life-saving book is no longer valid, you have to do this one?
So we actually keep the books because most of the content stays the same.
Okay.
So what happens is you give it out and you just have to say, make sure you look at the new requirements. Because
Got it.
they normally add requirements and rarely take them away from these
Okay.
merit badges. So the content that's in them is still very important. And a lot of people do better with a hard copy, but they can go find the online PDF for that maybe one chapter that they missed.
Okay. Out of all the so how many merit badges did you earn?
As of right now, I have 33 merit badges.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot. So you needed 21 or 24 for Eagle?
21 for Eagle.
21 for Eagle. You have 33. What was your favorite one?
My favorite merit badge was probably Citizenship in the Nation, as
Okay.
that goes back to like my love of just general debate and enjoyment of that. And when I got to take that class, it turned into more of a debate than anything else at a
great.
summer camp, and it was just a lot of fun.
Okay. What was the least favorite?
Citizenship in Society.
Okay.
I
that
felt
was a new
that was
one.
a new one that I felt was just a repeat of the other 3 citizenships, and only part that it really added could have been easily added to Citizenship in the World, Nation, and
Okay.
Community.
All
So
right.
I felt it was an unnecessary addition and just didn't enjoy my time in the merit badge.
Got it. So what are your plans now? Because, not to stereotype, but most scouts get their Eagle and they're like, see ya, and they leave and you never see them again. But you're still here.
I am still here, and I will still be here as long as I can. I am an active member of Troop 103 in Burlington still. I serve as the Junior Assistant Scoutmaster now, which puts
Okay.
me outside of the standard operation of the troop, and I serve as a more of advisor role to the existing positions of responsibility as
Okay.
opposed to a member of those positions.
Okay. So what are some of the skills that you've learned through scouting, whether it's, being the Junior Assistant Scoutmaster, patrol leader, librarian, debater, or whatever? What skills have you found transferable to other areas of your life?
So definitely leadership is the big one, because
Okay.
patrol leader was my first experience in a real leadership role,
Okay.
and since then I've served as the senior patrol leader, the head of the
Okay.
troop, and the assistant senior patrol leader, which
Okay.
is the second in command of the troop. And those were like a slow roll forward where I learned how to lead.
Okay.
I learned how to keep people excited and get them have energy. And that isn't something that is applicable everywhere, but
Okay.
to me it's a very important skill to have,
Okay.
because I like being able to walk into a room and try and create a sense of unity and just have fun with what we're doing in the moment.
Have you found any of those skills transferable to the Model UN that you're working on? How is the Model UN structured?
Model UN,
I'm kind of curious about that.
Model UN has a similar structure that it
Okay.
has a ranking system with elected positions.
Okay.
I serve as the lowest of the low. I'm the fundraising officer because I don't have a lot of time to spend on it with the Order of the
I
Arrow.
get it. Spend, fun. Oh, sorry. Little tiny jump on that big. Fundraising's important. Without money, you really can't do a whole lot.
This is true. So with Model UN, the real thing we do is we do conferences where you get to play as either a nation, like in the normal United Nations,
Okay.
which is a normal committee. You can't reach out to outside sources,
Okay.
and it's more just you debate inside, and you have to write your own proposals, directives, and get other nations to back them, vote on them, and pass them.
Okay.
I don't like those ones. I
Okay.
play the crisis committees, where there's a back room of
Okay.
2 to 3 people normally who
Okay.
act as outside sources, and you can normally
Give me
pass.
an example of an outside source.
Let's say I was John Langdon. I reached out to the governor of New Hampshire at the time and said, please raise the entire state militia and station them at the Canadian border should Britain send troops.
Oh, okay.
And now the New Hampshire governor, who was John Langdon's personal friend, sent me a letter back saying, absolutely, I'll get right
I thought you
on
were going to
that.
say, absolutely not.
And then following,
Okay.
so that would be an outside source because there wasn't anyone in the crisis committee acting as that person.
Okay. Got it. Can you give me like a modern day equivalent to that?
I guess if you,
Because I'm horrible at history.
okay, the cabinet of the
Okay.
sitting president. Let's
Okay.
say the cabinet was in a meeting and the Secretary of State made a phone call to the ambassador to England.
Okay.
That would be an outside source.
Got it. Okay. Now I get it. All right.
Literally outside of the room.
Outside of, okay, so like not part of that collective entity.
Yes.
Got it.
And since the conference is like a role play situation,
Okay.
there's normally 1, 2, 3 people who serve as the back room that act as all of these outside sources.
So it's like acting at the same time as learning history.
Yes, you have to take on the persona of who you're playing.
Now, are there like competitions with UN where you go and you debate or
Yes.
do stuff with like other school systems or other states? Or
Yes, I've been to UMass Lowell as a college in multitude of conferences. There's actually one this coming weekend that I'm
Okay.
unfortunately missing, but the
Okay.
Burlington team will be there and active.
Okay.
And we've won awards multiple times at UMass Lowell in the past, including myself having won awards there.
Okay.
We're doing a much bigger one in Boston in February.
Oh. Okay.
It'll be a 3-day conference. We will come home for the nights and go back into Boston. Yay, long commutes. But we're all excited. It's
Yeah, but just think about the price tag of trying to stay at a hotel
Yeah.
in Boston. So, how big's the team?
so
Because like the UN
it
is
shifts.
huge.
So with Model UN teams, it's less of a team and more of a club. Like we have like
Okay.
50 people in our Google Classroom. We normally send anywhere from 8 to 20 people to a given committee or
Okay.
conference.
Does it all depend on like availability? If like
Sometimes we gauge interest first, and then we
Okay.
have to email the group like, hey, we have this many people interested. How many slots can you give us? So for
Okay.
UMass Lowell, we had 16 interested parties. They gave us 18 slots. We
Okay.
have since requested more, and we are sending, I believe, 20 people.
So how do you gauge interest? Is it based on availability, or is it like you are going to go and we are going to talk about this topic?
They reach out. So everything is a group. All committees, conferences have multiple committees. So like when I was doing the Constitutional Convention, another group was doing a potential Chinese invasion of Taiwan. Another group was doing
Okay.
a United States Senate debate on.
Lottery tickets, or I don't know.
It was something random. I wasn't in that one.
Okay.
In fact, nobody from Burlington was in that one because nobody was interested. So what we do is we post a list of available committees in Google
Okay.
Classroom, and then you have to comment on it and say, I'm interested in this.
Okay.
And then we'll normally wait 7 days and then request the slots.
How do you prep for it?
Most people write position papers,
Okay.
which is like you write a full piece of paper full of just general context, your
Okay.
general plans, and stuff like that. Others just read on about it 5 minutes before it starts and see what happens.
Which category do you fall
Most of the time, I read it 5 minutes before it happens
Okay.
and see what happens. But I have earned
Great.
many awards, so it's worked out for
Okay.
me. But I also purposefully choose history categories, which
okay.
is my strong suit.
in? Got it. What's your favorite time period in history?
World War II.
Oh, did you ever have to model UN or debate on that period of time?
I did. I had to debate whether or not the nuke should have been dropped. In fact, we had to debate whether we should even drop them. And I was a member of, at the time, Harry Truman's cabinet. I was the Secretary of State,
Oh, lucky you.
who had the unfortunate position at the time of being so pro-bombs he wanted to drop more than 2.
Oh, okay.
At least with the resource that I was given from the conference. They
Okay.
may have changed it to get more radical, non-radical opinions in there.
Okay, so they want controversy.
Absolutely.
Oh, I hate controversy.
I'm hoping to host one in the fall. That's going to be one of the impeachment trials of one of the U.S. presidents. I'm hoping to do either Watergate or
Okay.
a more recent one to really get like the debate up high for it.
Okay, because like nobody that you're going to school with was even alive for Watergate. So,
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of interest in Watergate at
Really?
Burlington. I've had numbers of debates on it from varying perspectives of it.
Wow,
Should it have
okay.
happened?
know. But Forrest Gump was there. Oh, no, sorry. Love that movie. I'm sorry. This is why I have my list, because my brain goes everywhere. Okay. I know Model UN wasn't anywhere on here because I was not aware. Anything else you want to add about Model UN?
No, there's nothing more I can think of. It's fun.
Okay.
I highly recommend everyone do it,
Okay.
but that's it.
And, going back to scouting, the leadership, the debates, the structure, the planning, because there's a lot of like planning in scouting too, and like time management and all that kind of fun stuff.
Absolutely,
Is
yes.
that like carrying over to other areas?
The biggest thing that carries over is definitely the planning and the
Okay.
public speaking. Without scouting, I would not be able to debate how I can in
Okay.
just generic conversation, in Model UN. I wouldn't be able to go before my classes and present stuff without any fear of going wrong.
Okay. Has anything ever gone wrong?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Nothing can ever go perfectly.
That's true.
That's just
true.
the way of life.
Absolutely. Okay. We totally went on so many tangents. I don't know how to bring us back here. With your project, your Eagle project.
Yes.
Got the table stuff. And maybe this might overlap in other areas of your life, but kind of like the outside forces. With your Eagle project, what kind of permissions, partnerships, permissions and partnerships did you have to get in order to complete your project?
So I'd reach out to, first of all, Mr. Egan, who's head of the recreation department here
Okay.
in Burlington, because he
Okay.
technically runs the management of the grounds where the picnic tables are. Although
But there are school grounds.
school grounds outside of the main building are managed and cared for by the rec department.
Did you know this before you started your project?
I knew it wasn't the school paying for the management, but I did not know that everything had to go through both the rec,
Okay.
the principal, and the ground, and the person in charge of the grounds.
Wait, so who's the person in charge of grounds?
Mr. Kuna. It's not like directly grounds, but because of what I wanted
like
to do.
B&G for schools.
Yes.
Not all
Not
of the town
schools
buildings.
only. So
Okay.
because it was for the school, I had to get permission from the principal, Mr. Kuna, and then because
Okay.
of where I wanted to put them, I needed permission from Mr. Egan.
Where did you put them?
They've been moved around a lot since I put them there because people have been using them so much.
Well, that's a good thing. But
Absolutely.
it's like, well, if you're going to put them there, why did I have to go get permission?
Not to mention, I made them so heavy that they weren't supposed to be moved, so I feel bad for whoever had to move those tables.
Okay.
But so initially, the parking lot behind the school for the teachers,
Yep. Okay.
it's like right off of that next to the concrete pathway.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to cross the street to get to that big field that dips really down and all that kind of stuff.
No, well, that's where they are now,
That's
but
where-
that's not where I put them,
Okay.
unless they've been moved back since I
Well, I'm
was
just
there.
curious if they brought them down there, how are they going to get them up the hill?
Well, they're
you
not
know-
in the ditch, but they're across the
okay.
road, so
Okay.
they're really heavy. We had there were 2 past Eagle Scouts that came to my builds,
Okay.
and my older brother, and it still took 6 people to carry one of those tables. I just hope it wasn't those 6th to 7th graders moving them.
Yeah. No, they probably called Mr. Kuna to come back. I don't know. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So you had to get those permissions. Did you design them yourself? Did you just...
So initially, I found a Home Depot step-by-step on how to do it.
Oh,
that was
okay.
helpful for someone who understood what it was saying, which meant my father, who then had to explain it to me.
Okay.
And then I went into Google Docs and made my own version of the plan with slight
Got it.
adjustments, especially for one of the key tables, which is actually ADA compliant.
Okay. What makes it ADA compliant?
A wheelchair is able to roll under one end of it so that someone can sit in their wheelchair and still use the table.
Oh, did you have to remove part of the
I
bench?
extended the table by 2 feet instead of cutting out seating space.
Oh, okay. And that didn't do the catapult thing where if somebody sits down, it doesn't
They are really heavy.
They are really
The tables are really heavy.
Was that a deliberate choice?
I wanted them to be heavy. I wasn't sure if we were going to have to go out and purchase extra wood to weigh them down.
Okay.
But there was enough wood that went into them that they're heavy enough to be fine. I mean, they already survived a winter
That's
in
true.
New England.
Oh, yeah. Did you build them at your house and transport them, or did you actually like construct them at the school so you didn't have to move these, 3-ton?
We built them at my house, and then we got a U-Haul trailer and my older brother's truck, and
Okay.
we moved them all.
At the same time?
So we took actually no, we took them all at once, yeah.
Wow.
5 tables. We managed to get 4 in the U-Haul truck,
Okay.
and we secured the 5th one on my brother's truck.
Securing is a good thing. I should tell you about the time that, my brother tried moving a piano and did not secure it to the back of the pickup truck, and it cartwheeled out of
I
the truck.
can only imagine.
Yeah. And he is an Eagle Scout. We won't go there. Okay, so other than like the community partnerships to get permission to build the tables, how did you get the funding or the tools or the materials? Did you have to do like any grant writing or fundraising or?
I had a GoFundMe page
Okay.
that I had expected to leave up for a week or two and had to close it down after 3 days as we had hit the goal and then some.
Cool. And what did you do with the leftover money?
We had no leftover money.
Oh,
We
okay.
spent extra on some higher quality wood. We ended up having to
Okay.
purchase some extra wood.
Okay.
And we weren't initially going to rent a U-Haul trailer, but we realized that would be a lot more efficient, and we had the money.
Yes.
So
Okay.
we actually went $2.33 over the budget, which was then,
And 33, I love the and 33 cents.
I made sure to memorize that number, and then my parents donated $2.33 once we were done. And then I
Okay.
hit perfect zero.
I love it. Cool. Approvals. Now, you're building tables that small children are going to be sat upon. Sat upon? Engineering, clearing these tables to make sure that they are safe, that, kids don't climb on top and, pretend they're Superman and jump
Well,
on.
they're not. That is definitely a possibility, and there's really nothing I can do about that.
Okay.
But they're so heavy, the tables aren't going to fall over.
Okay.
And several kids in my troop who came and helped out
Okay.
spent like 3 hours sanding the tables.
Oof.
And then
Manually?
we had 2 power sanders and like 18 kids. Meaning not manual, meaning manually.
That's a lot of sandpaper.
That was a lot of sandpaper.
That's probably where the $2.33 came from, is because you spent too much money on the sandpaper.
You'd be surprised. We owned most 90% of the tools already.
Okay.
My dad and grandfather own a lot of tools. My brother
Okay.
brought some tools. My Eagle mentor, Mr.
Okay.
Green, brought a series of drills the first day. Another adult in the troop, Mr. Bonner, brought a bunch of drills and clamps. So I had a lot of support from friends, family, and the troop.
And everybody knew how to use these tools properly.
Everybody knew how to use these tools, or they were not using said tools. Or they were taught how to use said tools.
Got it. Looking back. Oh, actually, wait, before I ask you to look back. How long did it take you from project inception to completion?
About 7 months for this
Okay.
project. So I spent, towards the tail end of my sophomore year, we first came up with the picnic tables.
Okay.
By the end of the summer, I had finished my fundraising, and I had finished all my Eagle paperwork. Obviously in the reverse order, though. I had to file the paperwork before I could fundraise.
Oh, okay. Didn't realize that. And then, but you had to finish all the paperwork when you were done.
So there's 2 stages of paperwork. Actually, there's 3 stages
Three
of
stages of
paperwork.
paper. Good prep for when you buy a house. Fill out a mortgage.
Yay. So stage 1 is the proposal. Like, hey,
Okay.
this is what I'd like to do. This is what I think it will take.
Okay.
Can I do it? Which was then approved by the troop committee,
Okay.
then approved by district and council.
Okay.
And then then they sent me back to file my fundraising form to request permission to fundraise money for my Eco project.
Oh, okay.
So then I filed that. That was stage 2.
Okay.
and then did my whole project, and then spent like 2 whole weekends writing up a full-on report to submit.
Okay. And you think that report thing, like, is transferable skills to anything else, like college applications?
I'm sure it is. I hope not, because I don't like writing, but I'm sure it is.
Okay, all right, fair enough, fair enough. Project, if you were to do everything all over again, or if you were to advise someone who was about to launch into their Eagle project, would you have done anything differently? Why or why not?
Honestly, no. There were things that went wrong, but I learned from those things.
Okay.
I would advise other people in the future on how to handle those problems before they occur.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be able to do that if I hadn't had gone through them.
Yeah, but you can't really plan for every possible scenario of anything that might go wrong.
Exactly, which is why I'm happy things went wrong. I
Okay.
learned from them so that I can be prepared in the future. And so I can take what I learned and give
Okay.
advice to other people. So like, they'll still have things that go wrong.
Well, yeah.
But now they're not necessarily going to have a canopy collapse on top of all of their wood from heavy rains.
Canopies aren't supposed to do that.
I know, but it happened.
Okay. Was everybody okay?
It didn't collapse while people were under it.
Was the wood okay?
The wood was fine.
Okay, there you go. Okay, we already answered that question. What words of advice would you give a younger scout as to whether or not they should pursue their Eagle?
The same advice I give to any scout. You should get your first class rank because that's the best stepping stone to figure out if you want to move forward.
Okay.
And if you do want to move forward, make a plan.
Okay.
Expect changes, but don't put yourself up against a deadline where you're in your senior year, you turn 18 in 3 months, and you have to do your project, all your paperwork, and complete 6 merit badges in the next 3 months.
No problem. Piece of cake.
So even if you don't necessarily want to go for it now, set yourself up so you have the option to.
Okay. So plan ahead, basically. So in the event, like, you do have 3 months left before your 18th birthday, when is the, like, drop dead deadline? Do you have to have all your paperwork submitted before your 18th birthday? Do you have to have had your Eagle Board of Review before your 18th birthday?
So you can be 18 for your Eagle Board of Review, to the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
But your paperwork needs to be turned in the day before you turn 18. And if they send it back to you
Okay.
because you made a mistake,
You're up a tree without a paddle.
yeah.
Got
so
it.
don't do that.
Don't do that.
That's happened in Troop 103 history. We've gotten lucky.
okay.
It hasn't
Well, I'm
been
sure it's
sent
happened in
back.
more than just Troop 103.
Absolutely. I actually know a few people in the Order of the Arrow who did the same exact thing. And then they looked at me with my Eagle patch and said, "How old are you?" And at the time I was 15 and said, "I'm 15."
And they're like, we hate you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now one of them actually works under me managing the trading post, and he's 19.
Oh, okay. So tell me more about the Order of the Arrow. We will get into your sparkly like medal over here in a minute, but what made you decide to pursue Order of the Arrow participation?
The second I heard its initial description, Scouting Honors Society.
Oh, okay.
I knew that I was a dedicated scout. I knew that I wanted to find a way to make an even greater difference than I could here in Burlington. Here in Burlington, in my troop, I try to do my best to advise and help younger scouts.
Okay.
In the Order of the Arrow, I can do that on a bigger scale.
Oh,
I can
okay.
help more scouts, I can help more people, and I can bring scouting to more people and help them move forward and learn these necessary skills.
Okay. How do you do that? Or if you told me, you'd have to like kill me or something. Because I know Order of the Arrow kind
Well,
of has its own traditions.
Some of it cannot be discussed,
Okay.
but pieces of it, like we do service. We
Okay.
do service to scout camps. We
Okay.
do publicity to try and get people in scouts. We send volunteers wherever we can. This weekend on Saturday, the Order of the Arrow is actually sending kids to a food pantry
Oh, okay.
in Watertown to help the local troop that doesn't have enough members to staff the whole event. We're hoping to send 10 members.
Wow.
Our
Okay.
chief will be going there proudly as the one member of the officer corps that can make it to the event.
Oh, okay. What was your favorite thing so far, like community service wise, either through regular Boy Scouts, Order of the Arrow, or I'm eventually going to go into that, but what was your favorite service project out of the scouting worlds?
Well, my favorite one that I can probably talk about was the first project that I ever volunteered on. It was an Eagle project. The first year I joined Scouts, we were building stuff for a garden
Okay.
up at Memorial.
There's a garden at Memorial?
I don't know if it's still there, but I know
Okay.
it was built by a Troop 103 Eagle Scout.
Oh, cool. Well, because every time, you think garden at an elementary school, my brain automatically goes to Francis Wyman because the community garden's back there.
So it's a flower garden. It's actually about the size of this rug right here on the ground. It is not big. It has benches around it, and it's just
okay, that
really
one I
nice.
do know about. I was thinking like community garden where kids like plant produce and stuff.
No,
but it's like a
that's-
pollinator garden.
Yeah, and it was built by an Eagle Scout.
Oh, cool.
I was there when they got to use a giant machine drill to dig into the ground,
Cool.
and we got to concrete it in. Don't get concrete on your hands. Not fun.
Why do I think you're speaking from personal experience?
Because
Don't
I
answer.
am.
All right. So, tell me about this shiny little award.
So this is the Presidential Volunteer Service Award
Okay.
Gold Edition. So
Gold edition. Okay.
there are 3: bronze, silver, gold.
Same lineup as the Olympics?
I have no idea.
Okay.
If that's how the Olympics works, then yes.
That is how the Olympics work.
Then yes.
Because I know for scouting, which seems kind of counterintuitive, it's bronze, gold, silver.
Yeah, for the Eagle Palms.
So, and for like everything else. So that's why I'm like, okay, so,
This actually
Okay.
technically has nothing to do with scouting.
no, okay.
This was
It's got
run.
to do with presidents. apparently.
Yes. So I actually am not the one who found this. A fellow Eagle Scout, Audie Dash, found this and requested my mom, like, hey, is there a way we can do this through scouting?
Okay.
So my mom went through and took about, I don't even know how many trainings and classes to learn how to do this and
Okay.
become properly trained to run it for all of the Spirit Adventure Council now. So it is
Okay.
technically run through Boy Scouts,
Right.
but it is not a Boy Scout award.
Right. But there always has to, my understanding is there always has to be a sponsoring organization. And when you receive this award, you are basically held to the standards that everybody after you and everybody before you meets those same standards. Because I want to say something like I heard that if somebody within Spirit of Adventure doesn't do it correctly, everybody's is null and void.
Yes.
That
As far
doesn't
as I
sound
know.
fair to me.
Well, it's null and void for in the future. Like Spirit of Adventure won't be allowed to give it out anymore.
Oh.
I don't actually know if they take it away from past recipients or not.
Okay.
I haven't done that
would
much
not be fair.
research into
okay.
it.
Yeah, don't. Because I don't want to know.
But what I do know is there are different levels to earning it. There's lifetime achievement, which is thousands and thousands of hours of community service, and you can
Okay.
get it whenever, throughout your entire life. There's a adult section, which is, I couldn't tell you the ages.
Okay.
There's a
Probably
young
like
adult.
Over 18. But
There's
okay.
young adult, which is like 16 to 18, and then
Okay.
there's teen, which is the category that I fell into when I got my 100+ hours of service.
Okay.
So while I was 16 when I applied for it, the vast majority of my hours was from before I was 16, so I was able to apply for the gold at the teen level.
So you don't have to say, I want to earn this, and then start accumulating the hours. You can use past hours?
You can go back up to 2 years, and then you get a
Okay.
1-year period.
Okay. So like a total of 3 years then?
No, so
No.
you can go back 2 years, and
Yes.
from that 2-year point, you can go
Okay.
forward a year, and that's it, or you can start at any point in that 2 years and go forward a year.
Oh, okay. I just lost my question. Are all of your hours scout related because it's sponsored by Spirit of Adventure, or could you also accumulate hours through like Model UN or
You can bring in other hours.
Okay.
All of mine were through scouting
Okay.
because I scout so often, it's not even a thought of what else I could have done in that time
Okay.
period. a vast majority, just under 50% came from my Eagle project, and then about
Okay.
40% came from Order of the Arrow-based projects.
Oh, okay.
And if it's through Scouts, it had to be approved by my Scoutmaster in order to get approval for this.
Okay, now once your Scoutmaster approved it, because it's the council-wide charter that's like sponsoring it, did you also have to get their approval?
That person is ironically my mother. So
Okay.
she did
And
all the
there's no
trainings.
conflict of interest there.
There's no rule against it.
Okay.
We did,
Alright.
we did make sure that like there were extra people to just take a
Documentation.
quick
Okay.
peek to make sure there wasn't anything, so that no one could question it in the future.
Okay. How serious is the documentation?
They trust the people who went through all the trainings. So if
Okay.
the people who went through the training puts in the name, they
Okay.
send it. So the
Okay.
idea is this person that we've entrusted with this ability is
Okay.
so well trained and is going to tell the truth that we believe them,
Okay.
as far as I know.
Okay, well, I'm just thinking, like documentation is so important. So I'm thinking, how did they document it and everything? And, okay,
Most of my hours go through the online platform Scoutbook.
okay.
And then my Eagle paperwork that was officially turned in and approved. So that was
And
about
sent off to national,
63 of my hours right there,
okay, out of 100
out of 103.5.
and 3.5, okay.
So I think it
'Cause
might have
those
just been
30
0.5.
minutes are so critical. Okay.
Yes, and then the remaining 40 hours came through the Order of the Arrow-based projects, events where I volunteered, and I
Okay.
cannot add more onto that. But so then I just went to my Scoutmaster, who understands what the Order of the Arrow is, and I
Okay.
just had to get her to say, yeah, that's okay.
That's okay.
Before I could turn that in as official hours of service.
And those were also documented somewhere where like somebody took attendance or something?
Yes.
Okay. Since you received this as in the teen category, if you were to continue, like to achieve lifetime or achieve, even before lifetime, let's say we're going to young adults, can you reuse any of those hours to like build on it, or do you
No,
have to,
but
like,
you
start
also
from
can't
scratch?
get one of the other awards. I've gotten the Gold Award now.
Okay.
It's done.
But what
So
about, like-
the idea is if you're under 16, you don't really have the time to get 1,000 hours. So
Okay.
it scales up as you theoretically will have more time to do service.
Okay.
So as far as the Presidential here award is concerned, I achieved gold, and that's that. But because of how old I was at the time,
Yeah.
the required hours was less.
Okay. So if you were to earn, could you earn it as an adult?
No.
Even though this was, because it doesn't say it like
It doesn't say,
the
it's just
teen.
It's just the gold award.
Okay.
I fell into the teen category.
Okay, so like
for
teen only needed
requirements.
like 100 hours, but an
Yeah.
adult needs like, I don't know, 300 hours or something. I'm
It's
just
something
making
like
up.
that.
I'm making that up. Okay. Would you suggest this for anyone else, and why?
Honestly, it's a cool thing to say you got. It shows that like you care, you put in service, and it's just an additional thing to write down on college applications,
Okay.
resumes. Like I have this award, I put in the effort, I put in the time to get stuff done and to just do what's right.
Okay. Are there like any scholarships that are available specific to that award? Because I know like Eagle, there are specific, you can only apply if you're an Eagle Scout.
I don't know. I don't know much. I
Time to
just
figure that
don't know.
Okay, that works. So you already answered, you need a mentor counselor. What other type of application process was there? Do you just like say, okay, I worked 100 hours? Or was there like an interview or an essay that you had to write saying why you think you deserve this award?
Just proof of
that.
set of hours of service.
Okay, and where do you have to send those?
There's an online way to do it as long as you have the proper trainings. You get a login. So my mom had a
Okay.
login ability to get in, and then she turned in the hours, turned in the name, turned in the necessary information, hit submit, select if you want the medal, the coin, whatever you want to have as your
Okay.
trinket, and a proof, like, hey, I have this award, here's the proof.
What kind of swag?
Yeah,
What kind of bling?
and then just submit.
Oh, that works. Is there like any, like once you achieve Eagle, there's like a big Eagle banquet for all the Eagles from the past year. is there any communication whatsoever with other recipients that you know of?
Since we did it through the Spirit of Adventure and Scouting, it was
Okay.
awarded to me and Audie, who was the other scout who earned it, at a meeting. There wasn't a big ceremony, but it was like, these
Well, there
two
should
scouts
be.
have earned this.
Okay. What advice do you have to give to anyone, like classmates or, well, we already talked about talking to other, scouts, but do you think other people should earn this?
Honestly, to me, it's I didn't even know it existed when I
Okay.
found out I had the hours to potentially get it. And I think that's the best mindset to have towards it. Like, don't push for the award just to get the award.
Okay.
Do the service because you want to do the service. And then if you happen to get the award in the process,
Okay.
that's awesome. But it's not, if you're just shooting for award after award after award, you're
Yeah.
not really doing service to do service.
But you're still doing the service and you're getting recognized for the service.
And to me, that's different.
That's different. Okay.
Because I was always going out to do service to be helpful, to be
Okay.
friendly, courteous, kind, all the ideas of the Scout law and oath.
Okay.
And then it came up before me as like, hey, Dylan, you could get this too. And I was like, I'll do it.
Okay.
If I have the hours, I'll do it. And
Alright.
I just got lucky because I put in the time and the effort before it had even been an option.
I like it. I know you mentioned that you are planning on going to college. Do you have any plans for focusing on either a summer or even a week during summer or doing service like Habitat for Humanity or traveling to an underprivileged area of this country to help people, like hurricane relief, or I don't know, do you want to focus on just a service project?
I plan, when I'm not busy studying in college, I plan to return to scouting.
Okay.
I am technically a youth in the Order of the Arrow until I'm 21 years old.
Oh,
I
okay.
plan on maintaining activity and doing service through them
Okay.
for my local community. The community that has
okay.
built up who I am
Okay.
and that I feel I can give back to.
But what if you move to college, like in Colorado or something?
Then I'll come back for the summer or I'll join scouting out there.
Out there, okay. I think that's what my brother did. That's kind of cool. Any advice that you would give to, you mentioned that you joined scouting in first grade. Would you ever go back to your elementary school and talk to kids about scouting or about service or about the importance of the United Nations or debate or any of the things that you've done?
Honestly, I'd never thought about that before. I guess if I had the opportunity, I would, but who knows if that will ever come up.
But what would you say? I'm putting you on the spot because we still have 8 minutes left.
I tell people what it means to be a scout, why it's
Okay.
important, why it's important to do service to community, why it's important to find your passion and enjoy it.
Okay. Why is it important?
A passion is what brings you happiness.
Okay.
There are multiple other things, but passion brought me happy. I debate for fun. I found a group that we disagree on so many issues it's not even funny, and we'll debate for an hour and a half,
Okay.
insult each other during the debate, and at the end of it, give each other a hug and just be happy we had the experience.
Wow. Okay. I'm not sure I could do that.
It is probably my favorite friend group. The ability to be able
Okay.
to say what I believe, for them to say what they
Okay.
believe.
Did it ever get personal?
Absolutely. And that's what's fun. We debate all the time because we
Okay.
have different opinions about figures, about people,
Okay.
about just general factors in scouting. Outside of that group specifically, we'll
Okay.
debate the merits of different parts of scouting.
Okay.
Like some people believe citizenship in society was a necessary addition, whereas
Okay.
I thought it was an unnecessary repeat of past
Okay.
merit badges. That one's less drastic and butting heads.
Okay.
But the fact that I'm able to shake hands and get along with those people when we're
Okay.
done means the world to me, and that's a passion that I have. I have a passion for debate, and I don't lose friends because of that passion.
Oh, okay. See, I'm horrible at debating. I don't like controversy. So, what else do we want to talk about? Because you are just answering my questions so fun. How do you, okay, back to this award, because yes, I'm bouncing around. How do you, I know we talked about the strict rules to maintain the professionalism, I guess is a good word, of the President's Volunteer Service Award. I got it right, 'cause I read it. To maintain that standard, does that make you nervous at all?
It's not
Knowing
something
that you could change the course of the future of that recognition.
It's there, but it's not something I've overdwelled on. I don't feel that I have done anything that could misrepresent that award.
Okay.
I feel I truly earned it.
Okay.
And I did the service without even trying to get the award.
Right. That works. President's Award, other advice to Eagle Scouts? Do you have, like, with your peers now, you like to debate, you like to make your opinions known. Do you think you're ever able, or have you been able to convince people to become involved in your interests because of what you learned?
Yes.
Give me an example.
I've pulled people into scouting before who were previously less interested than they were before, and now I've convinced them to push for their Eagle Scout.
Ooh, okay. How'd you do that?
I just kept talking about it, like the advantages of it, the journey of it, what you learn. Like even if you don't go to college, putting Eagle Scout on a resume, learning those skills are just massively important. And I've met people who enjoy debate but have never even heard of Model UN, and I dragged them to a Model UN meeting, and now they are sometimes more active than I am in it because I'm busy with Scout stuff.
Okay. And I just had another question that just flew out of my brain. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, back to scouting, because my brain's a ping pong ball right now. We talked about some of the merit badges. Now, the ones that you mentioned were like the citizenship ones. But what about something like camping or swimming? Why do you think it's important to earn those?
So camping is there because scouting is based in camping. You're not only are you learning leadership skills, you're learning outdoor skills. How to function outside, how to be outside. They're trying to take, at the time it was normal for kids to be out in the woods all day.
Okay.
And that was just a thing that you did back in 1910s, 1920s, 1930s. You went outside.
1970s, 1980s.
Literally up until modern day. Now we have people who sit inside, watch TV all day, play video games all day, and even I'm guilty of that.
Okay.
But the ability to get outside and do things physically with your hands, build something, set up a tent, build a fire, are things that cannot be forgotten.
Okay.
They teach you skills and ideas that you can't learn anywhere else anymore.
Okay. But, I'm dating myself. Back when I was in middle school, I could take, it was like standard for industrial art. So I was able to go to a metal shop and build something and weld and, actually I think I used power tools in the wood shop. But there was also scouting there. How do you think that that's...
Well, today there are still schools that have you building stuff with your hands, but when do those schools go out and set you up in your camping for 3-4 days at a scout ranch out in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico? I got...
Oh, you can tell me about New Mexico next. Okay.
So when do you get the opportunity to go out and build a bonfire and dance around it, sing songs, build a...
Just not during a drought. Don't do this at home right now.
Yeah, no fires right now.
Don't do this at home right now.
No fires right now.
Okay.
But when do you get the ability to go build a fire, or even we set up safe knife throwing yards, axe throwing yards?
Okay.
These are things that I've almost never done anywhere else.
Yeah, but you really think it's a required skill to have.
No, but it's fun.
It is fun.
And
That's true.
they've proven actually, I had to do research into why my picnic tables were such a good idea. Being outside helps students learn better, helps the brain be more mindful, and actually gives you a more positive environment. Even if you're outside on the weekend and in the classroom all week, it proves that you learn better spending that time outside.
Oh. Now, was that part of your Eagle project that you had to do the research for?
I did that for fun.
Oh, okay.
And
What else
'cause-
did you learn?
That was about it. Like, you
Okay.
learn better outside. You do.
Okay.
And if you get that fresh air, like there are times where I've spent 2 weeks in school and then a week camping, and I think I've learned more on the weekend camping than I did in the school. So like there are things you learn about the world in Scouts that you just don't learn in school.
Okay. Like your recent trip to New Mexico?
New Mexico and Colorado.
And Colorado.
So
Okay, quick.
over the summer, I went to the National Order of the Arrow Conference in Boulder, Colorado. We were at the University of Boulder, Colorado. It was a crazy experience. It was hot there, but very hot. I learned skills there. I went to trainings. I built a brotherhood that'll last much longer than other relationships I hold on to. I met people who share my love of debate, who share my love of Model UN, who share my absolute dedication to the training of younger Scouts. Eagle Scouts like myself who earned Eagle and stayed active in Scouting. And then we got to go to film on Scout Ranch, where almost everything's outside. I was in a tent for 3 or 4, maybe it might have been even 5 days. I don't remember exactly. And we went for a hike in New Mexico, where we were already like at a 6,000 foot elevation, and then we hiked up another almost 600 foot elevation.
Okay.
And then I FaceTimed my mom from the top of the hill and went, "Look,
You got a
I'm on the
signal?
top of the mountain." Yeah.
Okay.
I was shocked. I could not send texts, but FaceTime worked.
Oh, what do you know? What advice would you give someone for that opportunity?
Take it. With both hands, go have fun.
Go have fun.
Go have fun. Make friends, build brotherhood. When you have an opportunity and you can take it with both hands on the steering wheel.
Both hands on a steering. Well, that's no fun. Just jump in, both. Okay. Well, you know what? We're out of time. So, thank you very much. I've enjoyed talking about all these different facets, which kind of fills in my ADD, but my undiagnosed ADD. I wish you the most success in whatever you decide to do after high school. I keep forgetting. So, congratulations on all of your achievements. Very impressive. And also, I want to thank everyone for tuning in because I'm babbling at this point. So, thank you for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed the value of Scouting, the value of service, the value that students can make in our world. So thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening. See you around town. Good night.